Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Timeless Season 1, Episode 15. It's called Public Enemy Number 1. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. First thing I want to point out, this is really petty, I get that they have to save money, but Al Capone's office was the same room that, what do we call them, Rittenhouse had, and all the clocks.
Yeah, I know.
That was the same set redressed. I'm just pointing it out.
It's what they gotta do.
Do you know what bothered me though is I noticed it as soon as I seen the door. I'm like, wait a minute, this is the exact same room.
Yeah, and I don't know if they weren't doing so much in various sets every week, I'd be a much more critical of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's popped up too much, but I feel like that room was distinct enough, though, that I just instantly reckon. Even though, obviously, they'd redressed it, they'd made it look like it was a different time period and all the rest of it, but it stuck out to me. So
I get that.
I'm opening it up. That's how I'm opening this. That really stuck out to me. Other than that, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, me too. Right from the opening, which I loved.
Yeah.
Like, because you had Flynn in the church, kind of being very reflective and having a bit of almost an existential crisis, and it was really interesting, I thought.
Yeah, I really liked that scene. Him talking to the priest, trying to just kind of, I don't know.
It was questioning the ideas of fate and if he is meant to intervene.
Yeah. Like, he's actually like he seems so sure in his goals, but this is the first time we see like a proper kink where he's not like sure if he's supposed to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
it just opens him up to a bit more humanity, and that's really nice. But everything else that we get, obviously we have Rufus and Lucy. They're in the base, and right, we have to jump because we've got this plan there. We're going to kill Flynn's mother before the jump. And it's funny because this is something that I think a lot of fans might have thought like halfway. Well, we'll just go back and kill his parents or something and take him out of the equation. And it's obviously because it's an innocent woman.
That's evil.
Yeah, it's murder.
Yeah, I feel like, to be fair, they've already addressed that multiple times. Even as recently as when he just went back to save his wife.
Yeah.
And that whole thing there.
They have the morals behind it have been brought up. It's just this specific plan's never been brought up, I don't think. And they of course refuse. But then Bobby from Supernatural's like, no, I don't think you understand. This has been ordered from higher up. Blah 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 blah. So they send them off with this.
Generic soldier number 3.
Yeah, Rufus called him the Terminator, which I thought was a nice good reference because he's been sent back in time to kill the mother of someone, but so that he can't rise up. It's a very good Terminator reference.
Was good.
But yeah, so I was like, all right, I know from the promo shots at this point that Wyatt ends up with them in the past. So I'm kind of waiting for something to happen, and like immediately as soon as they land, they like just try and kill him. And my favorite part of that whole scene though is when they're strapping in, and Rufus turns around to the guy and he's like, right, so you're going to get a bit queasy on re-entry because you've not done this before, it's just normal. He's like, look, and the guy says something really douchey like, oh, I'm not your dance partner, I think is what he says.
That was it,
yeah. And I love that Rufus just turns around and looks at Lucy with these eyes, and she's like, this look they share, like, this guy's a douchebag.
Yeah,
I can't wait to trank him.
Makes them feel better about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So then they take him out and they jump back to the present day, but at a different location, where Agent Christopher and Wyatt are waiting for them. And I loved all this stuff because this was like immediately, as soon as they get off the ship, Wyatt's like, well, we've got a time machine now, let's go save Lucy's sister. Let's just go do it. We're not part of the government anymore. Hell with it. I was like, okay, something's going to get in the way of this, but I like that this is the thought process here now.
That's the thing, like, you understand, something's going to go wrong because that's kind of the whole show, really. But at least they're making sense and having the same thought processes that we are. Like going, yeah, well, we can.
Yeah, and obviously they get the message in the ship that Flynn's went back to 1931. Right, was it 31? I may have the year wrong. I'm just doing that from memory. It was around that time. It was Prohibition.
No, it must be 31 because 54 minus 25 is what,
there
29.
You go. Look
and
at
then
using
add
the math. 2. Look at using the math to work it out.
Yeah, that's it. Can't remember the exact year from there, but the details give me enough to work it out.
There you go. But one point here, this isn't a big deal, but I don't think up until this point I would have assumed that they would get that information in the ship itself. It's always been at the command center with the computers.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
It felt just a little bit like the writers just went, oh, we need them to know even though they're not there, so we'll just say they get it from the ship. And they've never said anything that would say that doesn't happen, but it's never been brought
But it's
up
always
before.
been on the monitors that someone's addressed it, yeah.
So I'll just point that out.
I think the only, just to defend it a little bit before we go too far off this one, they're never inside the ship when it jumps. They're always outside and someone alerts them. So it could come from the ship and tell the monitors.
That's true. Technically, the ship is the thing travelling through time, so maybe that's the one. Okay, fair point. Which actually, to that point, when Mason and the gang get the computers back up and running...
Mason and the gang.
Mason and the gang, yes. Get the computers back up and running. They don't know that Flynn's jumped anywhere. They just know that their ship has went back to Chicago. So, yeah, maybe that logic works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it does. So yeah, Mason's pissed, and he knows Rufus has done this. And do you know what that reminded me of? Because he puts on like a computer virus, or a worm he calls it, that shuts down all their systems. And this little cartoon that he's made of Mason saying, I don't know what he was saying, but he was saying something like no entry or whatever. It reminded me so much of Jurassic Park. Do you remember in Jurassic Park when Newman from Seinfeld's like, you didn't say the magic word, That's what that reminded me of so much.
A lot of references in this one.
Yeah, quality references in this. Quality. But yeah, obviously he's immediately like, oh, Jai's sleeping with Rufus, she can't be trusted, take her out.
Straight to it.
They lock her away. Well, actually, she gets the phone call in the burner that Rufus slipped to her first, and then she gets locked away in a room.
And she's a really bad liar.
She's a bad liar. That said, though, when Mason comes in and tries to like threaten her and be like, I'm your boss, start working with us, blah, 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 I loved her little spiel about, when I started working here, I respected you, and it was like being in awe. And the whole time I was like, she's going to call him a coward. The word coward is coming. But she went through a Wizard of Oz reference first before she got there.
Everyone loves a Wizard of Oz reference.
Yeah, but that was good. So even though he comes in after and tries to be all intimidating, it still felt like, she got to him. That hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
You can see it. Mason's been a right dick in these last couple of episodes, and you really feel like we're kind of seeing his true colours, but I feel like there might be a moment of redemption. I've just... Maybe not because of some of the stuff that he did with Lucy's father, where he's like, oh, give me access to this data farm so that we can illegally pinpoint locations of anyone on the planet. Stuff. That feels like he's going down a dark path there, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too hopeful that he's going to turn around and do something heroic at some point.
I think it's because we spent so long with him on the fence, and then he only picked the side because Rufus told him he had to. That it feels like maybe he wasn't that committed to it, that he can still come back. I think that's why you feel like he could be redeemed.
I think maybe not anytime soon, but let's say the show runs for seasons and seasons. It could be the sort of thing where he becomes more and more villainous until the finale of the entire show, where he redeems himself with one action, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can see that being how his arc works.
Yeah, I could buy it.
Yeah, it's a tragedy until he decides, no, I'm a better man than this. I built an empire. I'm a tech genius.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, and Jaya tries to stall them by rigging a makeshift like computer up and doing stuff.
It works a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, she grabs like an old monitor, so she's got a monitor, and she like gets some RAM from something, and
some RAM from something.
Well, you see her pull out a stick of RAM. From
No,
a
I know. It
motherboard.
was just from something.
Well, it was just a random motherboard. It wasn't like another computer. It was just like lots
Yeah.
of parts that were kicking around. And there's that funny moment when like Mason's sure it was her, and they came in, but she's already like hidden all the evidence. She's like, still need to pee.
Yeah, that's
Quite
good.
funny. But yeah, so the main bulk of the episode, of course, is back in 31. Time of Prohibition. Al Capone, of course, is the sort of main fictional not fictional. He's not fictional, but the character that we're turning a fictional
Fictionalized.
event out of. And Flynn's working with him. Flynn stops him from getting caught for tax evasion, which is the hilarious way that he did get taken down.
Do you know what was a little weird for me at the very start? So obviously he walks in, he's like, oh, I've got these records that we saw a few episodes ago, whenever that was. Right? We saw all that mentioned and we saw that done.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, but so it was like, okay, we know who this is because this has been brought up in the show already. But the fact that they were hiding Capone like during this scene, and then he turned around and the music played it like this, it was this big moment, like the reveal with his name.
Oh, I think I disagree with this. To me, that was just giving him an entrance. It wasn't so much that it was trying to hide who he was. It was just build up. Like I would do this. Like say you're making a movie with say you're making a Batman movie, right? You give
I
Batman
get,
an entrance. You don't just have him. You don't just cut to Batman's face. You give him an
I
entrance
get
where
it, but it was just the way that the music treated it like a reveal as well.
okay, maybe the music's at fault, but for the most part, it just felt like to me it was giving him a like a sort of
Yeah,
little bit
I
of
say
build up.
it may be just a musical error, but it made the whole thing feel off to me because of that.
Fair. So the guys obviously decided, right, we're too heroic to be selfish and try and get Lucy's sister. We're going to have to go back and stop Flynn because that's what's right. And they go back. I actually love that because they've done this sort of haphazardly. They were dressed to go to the 60s,
Yeah.
Lucy and Rufus. So she's in this ridiculous 60s get up. Rufus has got this weird cardigan on. And
Wyatt's just in present day.
yeah, Wyatt's in present day. He even has a line at one point after the death of Ness. He's like, I'm wearing jeans from the Gap. We need to go.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of liked that. I liked how they stuck out as they were walking down the street and he's in like jeans and
And I like how
jacket.
people mentioned it.
yeah. People talked about it. It was again very Back to the Future with the remember Back to the Future was like, why are you wearing a life reserve, kid?
Yeah.
He's wearing a life jacket kind of thing because it's a puffy coat. And yeah, someone commented on this. I kind of liked how, obviously, again, we're in a time period where a lot of people should be racist towards Rufus. Well, not should, but should in the sense of being historically accurate.
Yes.
And I like that it's only brought up once, and it's Capone, and it's done in a very kind of...
I mean, it's brought up a little bit subtly in a couple of other ways as well. Like they talk about the hospitals being segregated at that point.
Oh, yeah, that's a plot point, though. I just meant in the way that the character's treating them differently. Like,
Yeah.
it was brought up in a sort of very... a natural way, and I appreciated that. It was a good line, especially Rufus's reactions like unlikable.
Yeah.
Cause
But I
he's-
do like that they do address it because
yeah,
as much as we don't want to see people be racist, that's how it was at the time. So it's important
no.
to reflect that.
oh no, absolutely. It would just. I think the worry with this show is because you've got Rufus going back every week to different time periods, it could start to feel very repetitious if they kept
Yeah.
every single week making a point of having several scenes of people being racist to him. And obviously it's accurate, but it would be too much. Whereas I feel like they've done a pretty good job of having it always be present, but not always in our face.
It's rarely the focus.
Yeah, and I think that's good. And I think that moment played quite well as a result of it because first of all it's Al Capone. You kind of expect him to be a douchebag. Let's be honest.
It's kind of how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, he's Al freaking Capone.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like Rufus. I mean, you could argue maybe he's just used to being black in present day anyway. But the fact that he's gone to all these different time periods and he's constantly being used to everyone
He
looking
has
at him differently.
experienced it like
Yeah, it's good character progression. Rufus,
It is.
I think Rufus out of the three of them's had not just because of that. That's just sort of the extra part. But I think he out of the three of them's had the most character development throughout the show.
yeah, I mean in this one alone he talks about how he's been a double agent and how he's the one orchestrating all this stuff at the minute. Like he's the pilot, he's the essential one of the team.
Yeah, which is why he's targeted at the end.
Exactly.
So so they end up meeting up after they realise that Capone's not been arrested for what he should have been arrested for. They meet up with the agent who was meant to take him down. Played from Misha Collins, who played Castile on Supernatural, which is why I thought he would be around longer than he was because
Right. Okay.
they made a big deal about him, like on websites, like Misha Collins is teaming up with Eric Kripke again for.
I had
episode
no
of
idea
Timeless.
who he was.
Yeah, but they treated it like a big deal, and he was gone after 2 scenes. It was like, oh, okay, bye, Misha.
Just got mowed down through a door.
Thanks for coming.
That was just a little one of those things where we're friends. Go on, I'll do a little bit for you.
Yeah, but they go off to Capone's brother, who's a federal agent, and they get him to get to Capone, which is when we get into the said room where it's the same room as the Rittenhouse guy, Principal Snyder from Buffy.
That's the one.
That was the guy I'm talking about. And we have all that scene, and Rufus, of course, gets shot. at the end of the scene, and they have to rush him back to the time ship because he's the only one who can take them home. If he dies, then they can't get home. They're
stuck,
stranded. Yeah. And the cliffhanger of this episode, god damn it, is they get in the ship. He's kind of like, he's wounded, he's dying, whatever. They need to get him back to present day, and he starts the ship up, but then he passes out, and like the other two jump up. And it cuts to black. It's like, yes! Oh, you assholes! What a cliffhanger!
Well, it's because it's so close to the end of the season now. Like it gets, obviously the next one being the last one, it gets away with this where it feels like, oh, this could actually happen. Like they could do this at this point.
Yeah. I don't think they will, but they could.
I agree. I don't think they will, but like I say, it's the fact that, I mean, this hasn't been renewed yet. For all they know, this could be it. Like they could really play it up.
No, I don't want it. Rufus might be my favourite of the three, so I don't want
agree.
him to die. So no, don't kill Rufus, please. But it makes sense he's the target because he has the pilot. He's the one that makes them vulnerable.
Yeah.
As much as taking out Wyatt would take away their tactical like combat person, as much as taking away Lucy would take away their historic knowledge.
Can replace those roles because, I mean, we've seen Mason Industries and Rittenhouse do that with other soldiers. It hasn't really gone particularly well for them, but they can do it.
Nah.
Nothing
but grade A red shirts, the lot of them, sit by it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it could be done. Lucy, yeah, she's just a historian. She's very good, and she knows what she's doing at this point, but you can get another historian. You can't get another pilot. There's only so many of them who can do it.
Two, as far as we know right now.
Yeah, until Jaya's ready.
I don't feel like they want to train her now after the events of this episode.
Maybe. Nah, she's just going to go off on one, isn't she, on her own?
Yeah, feels like it. Jaya could die, though.
She could.
I feel like they might kill her in the finale to give Rufus some like serious, dark...
Yeah, everyone else has lost someone.
Which is a shame, because I like Jaya, especially after this episode. I feel like ever since she's had a little bit more to do, it feels like she's...
Yeah. But obviously you've got... Wyatt's had his wife, Lucy's had her sister. Rufus hasn't actually lost anyone yet.
And she's the one that we care about. Because, I mean, obviously, sure, Rufus losing some of his family would be a big deal to him, but to us, killing Jaya would mean something.
It would be more than others, because obviously Lucy's sister we only knew briefly. Flynn's wife... Not Flynn's... Sorry, Wyatt's wife, not at all. So
Flynn's wife also dead.
They're also dead. I mean, there is a theme here. So Jaya would be the one to have impact to the viewer as well.
Yeah, we should mention the meeting. Flynn wanted a meeting with the mayor because he's a member of Rittenhouse, and he's like, okay, I know about this meeting, and he's like, oh, it happened 2 years ago, there's another one 23 years or 25 years.
Yeah, it's every 25 years.
Yeah, so it's in 23 years.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a meeting in 1954 at X location. So presumably that's where the finale is going to end up.
You've got to assume so, haven't you?
You have to, unless Flynn goes there himself because they're busy dealing with Rufus and that, and it's when he comes back we see the effects. But then, I don't know, we'll see.
It doesn't seem like what this show's been doing, but then it has surprised us a few times, so...
Yeah, but Lucy's dad tried to like bond with her, I guess, in a weird way. Didn't go super well, of course. I love that Agent Christopher's left in this warehouse, presumably with this agent that was going on the mission with him tied up in the corner somewhere.
Okay, yeah. Maybe he makes good conversation. Better than we assume.
I don't know. On the ship, he was a bit of a douchebag. I can only imagine that he's...
She probably just tranked him again straight away.
Probably.
I love the idea that actually, like the whole time they're on their trip, she was just sat on a chair watching. Every time he goes to wake up, just shoot another trank at him. That'd be fun.
Yeah, there you go. That's Timeless. Penultimate episode of Season 1. We'll be back with the finale next week. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. And we'll see you next time, guys.